everyone, my name is Brittney and welcome to my 25 Days of Cake Pops video series. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I make my Snowman cake pops. So to make these cake pops, I decided to use a vanilla cake, and I took that and I put it in my food processor, and once it was all broken up, I put in one scoop of frosting at a time until it clumped together to create what I like to call a cake dough. Now if you don't have a food processor, then you can just crumble the cake by hand and then mix in the frosting 1 or 2 tablespoons at a time until you reach a consistency that's great to work with and to roll the ball so they can hold the correct shape for these cake pops. So I'm going to use my cookie scoop to go ahead and create all of the balls for the snowmen so they're all the same size. And so I like to work in my hands a little bit and then roll it into a ball. And that is going to be the body of our snowman. But to create the head, I'm going to go ahead and take the normal size of my scoop and break it about in half. You can go a little bit bigger, smaller, whatever proportion you want your snowman body to head to be, whatever ratio you'd like to be. I like that about a half. And so I'm going to go ahead and use these two sizes together to make my snowman. So I'm going to continue to make just a few more cake balls, and then I'll put these in the fridge to cool before we're ready to dip them in the chocolate. Alright, now that I've got all of my cake balls rolled out, I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the fridge for about 5 minutes so that they can set. And while that's setting, I'm going to go ahead and start melting my chocolate. Alright, now that my cake balls have chilled in the refrigerator around 5 minutes or so, I am going to go ahead and take them and dip them in my white candy melt, which I melted in the microwave for 1 minute first, stirred, and then continued to put in the microwave at 30-second intervals until it was the right dipping consistency. So I'm going to go ahead and take my first cake pop stick and dip it in my chocolate. I'm going to put it all the way through my cake ball, and we're going to go through the cake ball. And there's going to be a little bit of cake off on the top. You can just pick that off. And then what we're going to do is dip it back in the chocolate and stick our smaller cake ball right on top. And then that's going to be our snowman. Cake balls stacked on top of each other. I'm going to go ahead and take this and dip it into the chocolate. Now you can leave your melted candy melt on the counter, or a lot of times I like to hold the bowl because I feel like I have a little bit better control when I'm dipping. And then I'm going to go ahead and tap it on the side of the bowl, and you slowly turn it, and you don't want to tap it too hard because you might cause the cake ball to break off of the stick. And then there you go. Now, while these are hardening, I'm going to go ahead and melt the rest of my candy melt, so I'm going to use to decorate these. Now, while the chocolate on these cake pops was drying, I went ahead and melted just a little bit of orange candy melts, which we're going to use for the noses, so you don't need very much. I also melted into 3 piping bags some red, brown, and black candy melts. And then I also have here some red sugar sprinkles. And lastly, I have a few toothpicks, which we're going to use to put on the nose, but also any corrections we may need to make, toothpicks will be good to help for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black piping bag, and I'm going to go ahead and pipe the face and the buttons down the front of my little snowman. Now sometimes the chocolate, when I pipe it, will come out to a little bit of a point. So what I'll do is I'll just tap it on the palm of my hand, the back of the cake pop, and that'll allow the chocolate to settle a little bit and kind of flatten. So it's a little bit better of a little dot and it's not so pointed. And so now that I have my little face and my buttons on my cake pop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brown, I'm going to pipe the arms. Okay, now that I have the little arms on my cake pop, I'm going to go ahead and take my red. I'm going to pipe the ear part of our earmuffs. I'm going to do one on each side. And then while that is still wet, I'm going to go ahead and cover it with my red sugar sprinkles. Alright, so now that the ear part of my earmuffs are on, I'm going to go ahead and continue using the red. I'm going to pipe the little scarf. And so what I like to do is I hold the cake bag still and squeeze, and then turn my cake pop with my other hand. And then once I've got it all the way around, that it's a full circle, I'll go ahead and kind of shake the cake pop a little bit so the chocolate will kind of lay a little more flat and even out. And then I'll go ahead and pipe the little tail of the scarf into the little position that I want it. Alright, so the last thing we need to do is we need to take our black and you go ahead and pipe the little top part of the earmuffs. Okay, so now that we have that, our snowman is missing one more thing. We have to go ahead and put its little nose on. So we're going to go ahead and take our toothpick and dip it in our candy melts here, our orange candy melts. And then you're just going to go ahead and just kind of draw on the little nose. And there you go. So now I'm going to go ahead and finish decorating my other two cake pops. That's how you make these really cute snowman cake pops. If you decide to make them yourself, I'd love to see it. Tag me in any photos you post online. I'm at Baking Brittney on Facebook and Twitter, and at baking.brittney on Instagram. Thanks for watching and happy holidays.